Ladies and gentlemen, major DLC leaks for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have surfaced regarding the full Pokedex, the Pokemon that will be getting. Approximately 223 returning Pokemon are here. We're going to break them down. We're going to discuss how they will fit into the current meta and lose our minds about it? Let's go. Okay, as you can see, what we've got here, over here on the left, is the current, as of Friday, March 3rd, OU tier. The Walker is here. Hisui Zoroark is down here. Can you guys see that? I know it's very small, but this is the entire OU tier right now, from Amoonguss down to Hisui and Zoroark. There's Iron Greaves, and here are other Pokemon with strategies that can also be used in OU. Now, obviously, you can use anything you want in OU, but these are non-OU Pokemon, from Alamamola all the way down through Tyranitar and Umbreon. There's Screamtail. Screamtail's good enough to be in OU. Scovillain is PU? On what planet did Scovillain become PU? I thought that thing was like real. What? Anyway, we're going to be referencing this list over here, the OU tier list, so that we can discuss where all the leaked Pokemon will fit into the meta, break them down competitively, and see what we think, how they'll be, how they are. Let's start at the very top. And as you know, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur are returning, and they have Chlorophyll. So Venusaur is going to be OU, in my opinion. It's going to fit on the Sun teams incredibly well. It does not have photosynthesis, but it does have chlorophyll. So with that typing being grass and poison, you stick that on a team with Torkoal and Walking Wake, who is water and dragon. They cover each other's weaknesses almost perfectly. Poison resisting the fairy that Walking Wake is weak to, hitting things super offensively. The boy gets Weather Ball in the sun, still gonna be hitting solar beams in the sun, gonna be dropping fat sludge bombs, sleep powders, growths, synthesis. Okay, now hear me out. This is all taken with a grain of salt. Although this isn't fully confirmed, this is essentially leaked, and we can take this as pretty much true, but we don't know the changes that they're going to be making. For instance, when we get down here to Clefable, right? Is it still even going to get Knockoff? Is it still even going to get Calm Mind, Moonblast, Thunder Wave, Stealth Rock? Is it still going to get? So a lot of these things, you know, a lot of Pokemon have lost Defog, have lost U-Turn, have lost Knockoff, have lost recovery moves and Roost, etc. So we're gonna go into this assuming everything keeps everything it's already had, but they could lose a lot of stuff. Now, on the other hand, a lot of the Pokemon that lost a lot of things could be getting all of their old moves back with move tutors in the DLC, in the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc. So let's just carry on. Going to be a massive threat, Venusaur OU. You're going to see it on a lot of teams. I think you're going to continue to see the rise of Baxcalibur being able to just knock things out with like a Choice Banded Ice Shard. It's probably the best Ice Shard user. Weavile's still there, but you don't see it much. Even though Chen Pao was banned a couple weeks ago, you're still seeing no Weavile. A lot of Baxcalibur though, still very, very scary. Okay, Charizard, it's already in the game. Not that good. I don't even think it is. It's viable. Technically, it's in RU, but you're not seeing it much with solar power. There's just better fire Pokemon out there. Volcarona is still, Iron Moth is great. Volcarona, Cinderace is there, Cinderace is there, and then obviously Ceruledge and Skeledirge is one of the best. I think Skeledirge might be the best. The thing is so good. Loves the Terrasilize, but let's focus on where we're at. Okay, Blastoise is there, assuming it still gets Shell Smash. Gonna be probably its best set. Shell Smash, Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Surf, Hydro Pump, things like this. Blastoise did get Flip Turn. Will it lose Flip Turn? That would be huge. I also love to use a Assault Vest Blastoise set with. You can even go physical. I did a live a couple months ago to see if you can find this crazy Blastoise set with like Aqua Jet, Rapid Spin, Mirror Coat, Flip Turn, crazy bulk, and a great utility mon for spinning hazards away. But of course, Blastoise with either White Herb, Focus Sash, things like this, maybe even Life Orb, is probably going to be its most offensive set. We'll see how it works. Arbok is coming back. Can we get a Mega Arbok? That'd be great. Maybe they'll add a new ability, some new stat redistribution. Maybe they'll make it Dark Poison with Levitate. Who knows? But Arbok's never been too great, but it does have a pretty nice coil set, which is pretty cool. Sandslash is coming back. Does that mean we will also get a Lowland Sandslash, which is probably the superior Pokemon because it does get Slush Rush? And Steel and Ice actually has pretty good offensive coverage. It doesn't hit fire, but it's pretty good. It doesn't hit steel, but the thing does get Earthquake. So it's actually a scarier Pokemon if we get the Alolan version. Clefable, you already know. It does everything under the sun. Will it be nerfed? Both Magic Guard and Unaware are going to be excellent on Clefable as usual. It's going to be a great lead, of course, getting rocks up, passing Fat Wishes, being an offensive mon with Calm Mind, Thunder Waves, Flamethrower, Focus Blast, Moon Blast, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. It gets everything. It always finds a way to remain high usage top tier OU. Now, with all the terrestrialization and how powerful things are now, Goldango, Glamora, just to name a few, these Iron Treads, also Excadrill is coming back, spoiler. I mean, there's so many things. Amoonguss is still very, very good in the meta, seeing that more used. Skeledirge kind of goobs Clefable. So there are a lot of Toxapex is still there, even though Toxapex was severely crippled this gen, but still OU. But Clef will find a way because of its utility. Just because of its utility with knockoff, wish passing, thunder waving, rocking, things like this. Hard to decide what it's going to do. But Clefable, phenomenal Pokemon. Ninetales, big because it's another Sunsetter if it heats Drought. Now, Ninetales has base 109 speed. That's very fast. A lot of other faster Pokemon are returning as well, but we will have another Sunsetter, so Torkoal won't be the only option, meaning we'll have something faster that's not super duper slow. Torkoal is great. It's got spin, it's got rocks, it's got yawn, things that Ninetales doesn't have, but Ninetales can drop fat, heavy solar beams, weather balls, nasty plots. It gets morning sun, unlike Torkoal. So it's going to be another really cool option. And if you terrastalize fire Ninetales in the sun, it's going to break holes. Terrastalize grass Ninetales in the sun. That's pretty scary. So I think some really cool options will be coming back with the Ninetales line. Vileplume is there. Vileplume is actually good. It's always been outclassed by things like Venusaur and Amoonguss, the other grass poisons, but I believe it does get Effect Spore, and it does have some pretty significant bulk. Let me double check. Does it get a special? Yes. Vileplume gets both Effect Spore and Chlorophyll. So definitely going to be outclassed by Venusaur there, but it is coming back. It can stun spore you. It can hit you hard with sludge bombs, things like that. It also gets, what is it that it gets that makes it? I think it gets Strength Sap, which is good there. Can put you to sleep with Sleep Powder. So a cool Pokemon. Poliwrath is coming back. The original water fighting type, it never been the best, but it does get things like Circle Throw and Water Absorb, which are really something that Quaquaval and Keldeo don't have going for it. Are we getting Keldeo back? I haven't even looked at this list yet. So I know Quaquaval is still here in OU. It's got good typing, but I just don't see how Poliwrath is going to be able to be used in OU over Quaquaval. It's never really been an OU Pokemon. It can do things like run AV with Circle Throw, things like that. It can bulk up, I believe. But cool Pokemon, and anything Gen 1, you gotta love it. Gotta love the Poliwrath. Victory Bell as well is another one of those offensive chlorophyll abusers. I still think outclassed by Venusaur. However, Victory Bell can also hit you on the physical side. Does it get Weather Ball? We have to know this. Chlorophyll. It does get the Weather Ball, of course. I like to run Power Whip on it and hit with that 105 base attack. It also gets Sucker Punch. It gets Growth as well. So gonna be a usable in the sun, kind of scary, especially with maybe Terra Dark, Sucker Punch in the sun after a Growth. This could be a decent Pokemon, not too much bulk, but interesting to say the least. I think it'll be, because sun is not going anywhere, especially with this photosynthesis. So there are going to be really cool options of ways that we can mix in these other Pokemon that have never really had that much viability before, especially in OU. Tentacruel coming back. Tentacruel, underrated Pokemon for a lot of people. If you know about Tentacruel, you know how good it is with that base 100 speed, rapid spin, acid spray. Scald maybe not coming back, but maybe able to get the chilling water, surf. Who knows if it's going to be as good as it was in the past. Black Sludge with a liquid ooze is great. So you can't Giga Drain this thing. You don't want to trick this thing. You don't want to Leech Seed this thing. It's going to rapid spin that off anyway. I believe it also gets, well, it gets way more than I had even given it credit for. Blizzard, Dazzling Gleam, Giga Drain, Knockoff is there. We will have to see. It gets a Mirror Code as well, Magic Code as well. It's a great move. We'll have to see, obviously Rapid Spin, if it gets still Knockoff. There's T-Spikes, so that's big right there. Swords Dance, if you want to try to use that, you're a crazy wild animal. But it's got more tech than we give it credit for. Great Pokemon, again, with that speed. And now that you get the speed boost with Rapid Spin, now it doesn't hit too hard, but it does have some cool tech. It can even be an AV user. Check it out. The Golem line is coming back. Will we see a Lowland Golem to match that typing of the Rock Electric with Iron Thorns? Iron Thorns. It's probably going to be the superior Alolan Golem, regular Golem being ground and rock. It's going to get absolutely goobed by things like Great Tusk, Excadrill, Iron Treads. There's so many Mon that just hit it. I mean, grass and water both hitting you super effectively. Now, it is able to Terrasilize now. Still an interesting Pokemon with those lead shenanigans with explosion and rocks and things like that. It was sturdy, so we'll have to see how Golem does. Seal and Dodrio is there. Dodrio is very scary with that base 110 speed, and now it did get that boost to base 110 attack, I believe in Gen 7. Also gets Swords Dance, so that makes it very scary. I remember seeing and using Z-Fly, Z-Normal, Swords Dance Dodrio. It can blow holes in things. I believe it gets Jump Kick. I don't think it gets Knockoff, but we'll have to see if it's still as good as it used to be. It's an underrated Pokemon for sure. It's RU and Nat Dex right now. There's Brave Bird, Double Edge, right? Things like this. Knockoff, it does get Quick Attack, so Return, Roost. So we'll have to see if it still keeps all those moves. We don't know. But it definitely could be pretty scary with that base 110 speed and the ability to Terrasilize into a normal type or a flying type, dark type, fighting type. Interesting. So there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff coming in. It's going to shake up the entire meta. Let's keep pushing. Seal and Dugong. Dugong, one of my favorite OG Pokemon of all time from Gen 1. I loved the Water and Ice type. I loved the Aurora Beam graphic or animation. I thought that was always really cool in Gen 1 and Gen 2. Loved that it was the first Pokemon you faced with Lorelei in the Elite Four. And I actually used, I believe, a Dugong on my very first or second playthrough in Pokemon Blue. One of my favorite Pokemon originally. Never been competitive, viably competitive, really ever. It's always needed kind of another evolution. Even when they dropped Walrein line a few gens later, 2 gens later, Walrein was never really lived up to what we were still hoping from that Water and Ice. Cloyster was kind of always the best for a long time, but maybe you'll get a massive boost of stats or something that'll make it much more viable, but it doesn't have, it's not there to do much. Executor, we can already see Iron Horns. I'm still calling it Iron Horns. Iron Leaves here. Is going to be the superior grass and psychic type. We'll have to see if we do get the Alolan Executor as well, which is the superior Pokemon, getting things like Flamethrower, Draco Meteor, a ton of great coverage, Sludge Bomb, things like this. Executor is really good for like Sub-Seed, Hypnosis, things like this. It's really only most competitive in OU in like Gen 1 and Gen 2. After that, kind of fell off, but a cool Pokemon nonetheless. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, you already know what they do. Really great, like Endure, Swords Dance, Hitmonlee here with the Unburden, and Hitmonchan, a great AV user, lots of priority. I believe it gets Bullet Punch, Mach Punch, Fake Out, things like this. Really cool users of like the elemental punches as well, like Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, things like this, High Jump Kick even. Really cool Pokemon. We'll have to see how they fit in the meta. There are just so many things that are so bulky now. Corviknight, Dondozo. I mean, Hatterene is used all the time now. Even like Torkoal is here. Ting Lu can turn into a ghost type. You're going to be whiffing those HJKs. You know, there's so many things. Even down here. So many bulky, like fairies. Clefable's still going to be there. Gyarados is still here. And you're going to get outsped by Iron Valiant. Everything's going to get outsped and killed by Iron Valiant. They're going to need to retest in OU the big bangers that they banned, like Chien-Pao, like Chi-Yu, like the Ghost, Fluttermane, even Iron Bundle, things like this. Maybe even Houndstone. We'll have to see. Coughing and wheezing, G1s, baby. Great levitate poison. Wheezing, I think, may stay OU. It's always been either like OU or UU. Galarian wheezing with the fairy poison typing, a unique typing, and very good with the strange steam. And it got Defog and Will-O-Wisp, things like this. Fire Blast, Thunderbolt, Sludge Bomb, right? So, and Pain Split. Really great underrated Pokemon. I wonder if it's gonna get Body Press ever. That would be great for it, but I see it checking a lot of things. Great Tusk, Quaquaval, Roaring Moon. I mean, a lot of things are gonna get gooped up by Wheezing, so solid Pokemon. We'll have to see if the Galarian form returns. Love Wheezing. I've drafted it multiple times in Draft League. Rhyhorn and Rhydon. Are we gonna see Rhyperior? Hopefully, maybe just further down on the list. This looks like this is ordered by Jen. Again, kind of falls into the same category as Golem. Definitely superior to Golem. Hits harder, even bulkier, and gets Rock Wrecker, things like this, but loves to use like Stone Edge, Earthquake, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, gets all those punches, rocks, things like this, and is also a really good AV user. Rhyperior also gets the solid rock ability that reduces the damage you take from super effective attacks, which is great for it. It actually is able to eat like even hits on the special side, and it eats plenty of hits on the physical side because it's so bulky. Love Rhyperior, underrated, and also gets Swords Dance and is a great choice band user. So we'll have to see how that fits in. There are just so many things. I mean, it could be okay. It could check things like Terra Normal Dragonite. It may even check Garganical. Maybe if you're choice banded. No way. Garganical just tears into a fairy or flying or water type and clicks iron defense, and you can't break it. It's Garganical. Horsey and Seadra. Now we're talking. Seadra and Kingdra, especially with the Swift Swim in the rain. You already have Walking Wake being the other water dragon type. Tatsugiri RIP. But this is going to be a big banger. It's going to maybe terrestrialize into a water type, right? Choice specs in the rain, Terra Water. You got to have Water Absorb now. Clodseire's got to be there. But can Clodsire eat a choice specs Terra Draco Meteor? I mean, yeah, it can from Walking Wake, which means it can from Kingdra. But an awesome rain option there, and rain's not going anywhere either. Pelipper. Pelipper is great for setting up rain, but Pelipper itself is actually really good. The water flying type right now, hitting those 100% accurate hurricanes, really good. So really cool option there. Again, I just don't see Walking Wake going anywhere. There are a few other Swift Swim users, but that's definitely one of the big ones. I'll have to see if Seismitoad is coming back, things like that. But very, very cool to see Kingdra returning, and also it can hit on the physical side too. It also gets the Dragon Dance options, Outrage, Waterfall, things like this, and its terrestrialization options are going to be really cool too. It does get access to Hurricane, so it may turn into a flying type and blow those grass types back. I know that Whimsicott's coming back, which is going to be a really cool Pokemon in both VGC and in the OU tier, and maybe the UU if it doesn't stay OU, but it is going to check a lot of things like Meowscarada, like Roaring Moon, Quaquaval, Great Tusk, Garchomp. There's a lot of things it could check, but we'll have to keep moving. The Evire and Magmortar are coming back. Very cool. I like using both of them as a choice specs and choice band, or a choice band and choice specs user respectively. I also like to use Magmortar as a belly drum user with Mach Punch and Flame Charge and Earthquake. So it's got some really cool tech there. It may even be a good user of terrestrialization. Don't think it's going to stay OU, but it is a cool Pokemon. It is a Gen 1 boy and then a Gen 2 boy. Did they get their evolution in Gen 2 or Gen 3? Was it Gen 3? Gen 2. Either way, Electivire is a really cool Pokemon with base 95 speed. It does get like Ice Punch and things like this. I like to run a mixed Electabuzz with either a Choice Band or a Life Orb. I mean, physically based, but I like to throw Volt Switch on it because it helps. Ice Punch, Wild Charge, Earthquake, Volt Switch, things like this. Maybe even an AV. Pretty cool. Be great if they got like Rapid Spin or something like that. Lapras is coming back. Lapras so bulky. It actually got Dragon Dance a couple gens ago. You can run like, it likes to run Avalanche, which doesn't really help with Dragon Dance, but it also gets Ice Shards. It's got Water Absorb, Surf, Hydro Pump, things like this. It also gets Thunderbolt. You could run like modest max special attack with an AV. This thing does not die. Gobbling everything back up. Porygon. Here we go. Porygon 1 and, well, Porygon 2 and Porygon Z are huge for the meta because Porygon 2 is, we're not seeing any Blissey, but Porygon 2 is almost just as tanky as Blissey, both on the special and on the physical side. It gets that reliable recovery in Recover, and it gets really cool setup options like Calm Mind, and then it actually can make use of that bulk. It can Thunder Wave you, it can Bolt Beam you, cool things like that. So it's really tough to break through, and there's so little knockoff now. So it's going to be tough to knock off its Eviolite. So that looks really good for Porygon 2. That's going to be very, very troll on the ladder. We may see that being used in OU. It's going to be able to absorb like the sun team hitters, the rain team hitters, right? Really cool. And then obviously Porygon Z is going to be a phenomenal Terra type user, right? It can Terra Electric, Terra Ice, Terra Ghost, and it's going to get that adaptability boost. It could just stay Terra Normal and blow you absolutely back with a Tri-Attack or a Hyper Beam. Really cool options. I'm a huge Porygon Z fan. I drafted. It's got that base 90 speed and I believe base 135 special attack. Gets Nasty Plot as well. Very cool. I believe it also gets Energy Ball, which may be cool for hitting things like Unaware Quagsire, Dondozo, a lot of other things. But there's still big old banger. You still got Iron Valiant there to annihilate you. King Gambit is there to annihilate you. Really cool there for Porygon. Snorlax. Now, finally, Snorlax is coming back. We need Snorlax. I think we're going to see him get some usage in OU. Really maybe cool Terra options there. Curselax may return. Chesto Resto sets. We'll see if it still gets access to things like Darkest Lariat to break through things that want to set up Iron Defense or a bulk up, things like this, boosting their defense. A phenomenal Pokemon for checking the ghost types, obviously a normal type, and then with a thick fat ability, reducing that damage from fire and ice type. Going to be a phenomenal special wall for a lot of things in OU. So I'm excited to see how that, we may need Snorlax to check things like Walking Wake and Venusaur and Skeledirge and things like this. So love Snorlax. I don't see it falling any lower than UU. It might. But I think it could be one of those Pokemon that drops low, maybe even to RU, but still when you use it in OU, it actually puts in so much work. Belly Drum Lax, Curse Lax again, Choice Band, AV Lax with things like Facade, and there's so many cool moves that the guy gets. Heavy Slam, like fire moves, Earthquake, even like rock moves like Rock Tomb and things like this. So now moving into Gen 2, the starters are returning. Meganium's still there to not do much, but Leech Seed you and absorb hits and maybe drop a Leaf Storm. Never really used Meganium that much because it's always been kind of very sub-mid. But he's there. We'll have to see how it works. Maybe terrestrializing into a fairy type. Will that help? We'll have to find out. We'll see how terrestrialization helps. Meganium line. Typhlosion is there. Now we know we're getting the Hisuian Typhlosion, the ghost and fire type with Infernal Parade. This looks to be a very powerful move. But Typhlosion does have that base 100 speed. It actually has the exact same stats as Charizard, and it really likes to use like Choice Specs Eruption as its main gimmick. It can also drop solar beams in the sun. It can turn into a grass type. We'll have to see how it fares, but being base 100 speed is great for it, but there are things that are going to outspeed it, and it is not the bulkiest Pokemon, so it can get OHKO'd by things like Iron Valiant. You can kind of keep going back to Iron Valiant and Roaring Moon and just kind of compare everything to those two because they're so powerful and so fast, and they have that photosynthesis and quirk drive ability. So don't see it being used really in OU, but for Feraligatr, again, has been traditionally a phenomenally good Pokemon, but we're coming up on against things like Dondozo, an unaware Pokemon, right? So even though it's got Swords Dance and Dragon Dance, and it makes great use of both of those with Sheer Force and Life Orb, there's just so many bulky things now with unaware. It's going to be tough to hit Clodsire, Dondozo, Clefable coming back. So we'll have to see how Feraligatr fares, but again, it can Terastallize. Feralitline's coming back, Noctowl's coming back, kind of a cool Spadef Pokemon there. It can do some kind of cool gimmicks with Hypnosis and recovery there. Ariados, kind of weak Pokemon there. It can set up Sticky Web if you want to use that in a lower tier. Lantern is there. Lantern's great, very underrated Pokemon. It gets both Water Absorb and Volt Absorb. Can do really cool things like, well, it used to be able to Scald and Volt Switch out, and we'll have to, like, and now that it lost kind of Toxic and things like, if it did lose Toxic, used to be a great Pokemon, still kind of a fun Pokemon to use, and it kind of has that mind game of, is it Water Absorb or Volt Absorb? Cleffa's there, obviously, the Clefable line coming back, gonna be OP. Maybe, there he is, ladies and gents, Politoed, okay? We have, well, there's Blossom as well. We'll see if Blossom is still good with its Quiver Dance shenanigans. Maybe turning into a Fire type, a Flying type. We'll have to see what it does. We'll have to see if it is, makes any good use of OU, but you're going up against things, other Quiver Dancers like Volcarona. And actually, what's the thing? Snom's Evolution, the Frosmoth, is actually underrated. It's a great Pokemon, and it actually still has Defog. You do have to slap heavy-duty boots on it, though. But Politoed setting up the rain here. Now, Pelipper has always kind of been the superior because it gets access to Roost, Knockoff, U-Turn, and they actually let it keep those moves. Doesn't get Defog, though. It lost Defog, I believe. I know that nothing gets Defog and Knockoff, but I think it does still get Roost and U-Turn, things like that. Politoed's gonna be cool. Politoed gets Hypnosis, that's cool. It's still gonna hit you with hard-hitting water moves, Ice Beams. It can be pretty bulky, and it doesn't have that rock weakness like Pelipper has. So we'll have to see if it gets used much as a rain setter once it drops. Apom and the Ambipom line are there. That's a good Pokemon with the base 115 speed. It's going to be even better maybe with the loaded dice and Technician now, right? So it doesn't have to run the other ability where it gets all the hits. Maybe it can run loaded dice Technician. That could be very, very scary with the tail slaps, with the, I believe it gets the rock move, the Bullet Seeds, right? So very cool and very scary at 115 speed. Watch out for Ambipom. Yanmega, the speed boost is scary. Specs, Tinted Lens. God, do I know everything about every Pokemon? This is embarrassing. Let's just keep going. It is quad weak to rocks though, but it can Terastallize a hit even harder. I think Yanmega is actually going to be pretty scary with the speed boost. Quagsire's already in the game. Cool Pokemon though, of course. It does get Water Absorb. Does it get Water? Yeah, Water Absorb and Unaware. So, the same abilities as Clodsire. Is Quagsire even listed on the viability here? Quagsire is not listed on the viability here, but still a cool Pokemon nonetheless. It is here. He is the one. Here we go. Gligar and Gliscor. Great Pokemon. Definitely OU. We'll have to see if it keeps Knockoff, if it keeps things like Facade, right, with a Toxic Orb, if it keeps Roost, if it keeps U-Turn, if it keeps Defog, right? These are all really big banger moves that it's going to want to keep. If it does not keep those, probably just be a Swords Dance, Earthquake, Facade, Roost user. It better keep Roost. If it doesn't, they're gonna goob it so hard like they did Hydreigon. So we'll have to see. Otherwise, it's going to check a lot of things. I don't think it's going to be incredible anymore because we do have Walking Wake and so many hard-hitting special attackers that can break it on the special side, but a phenomenal physical Pokemon that's gonna check things like Garganacl, Dragonite, Garchomp, Iron Treads, absolutely a great Tusk, right? Maybe even Roaring Moon. It's gonna really want to keep Toxic as well to hit things like Dondozo, right? Torkoal. Like an EQ Torkoal, but you know what I mean, right? A phenomenal Pokemon, always been top tier OU, a great stall breaker with Taunt as well. So we'll have to see if it keeps all those moves and abilities. Okay. Moving right along. I had to take a 5-second break because I feel like I've been going a billion miles per hour. Slugma, Magcargo is there. Cool Pokemon, a really interesting typing with Rock and Fire. Haven't used it too much. I know it does get the Flame Body ability, so that's great for switching it in and making burning things. I know it gets Stealth Rocks. I don't think it gets Rapid Spin. It does get Lava Plume, things like this, but it does have the quad weakness to ground and to water, so I definitely don't see it being used in OU. Piloswine and Mamoswine returning. That's huge. Now, we do have things like Baxcalibur, which can tear into a ground type, which might even be the superior Mamoswine. But Mamoswine, if it terrestrializes into a pure ground type, it's going to hit extra hard on the physical side with ground. It can terrestrialize into an ice type as well. Get that double stab with Icicle Crash with Ice Shard. Also a great tech maybe on Piloswine since it doesn't get any setup options like Swords Dance or anything like that. Another cool option may be the Terra Ice Terra Ice loaded dice. Terra Ice loaded dice with the Icicle Spear. It's going to blow things back. We will have to see if Mamoswine keeps Knockoff, Huge, and Stealth Rock. Lead Sash Endeavor sets. Oblivious now being immune to Intimidate. That's huge. Will it still have superpower? How hard are they going to goob our babies? Skarmory is here. Skarmory, the Spike Setter. Skarmory, we obviously have Corviknight, but Corviknight cannot set up hazards. It can just U-turn out, set up physically. It can roost. Really cool, but it can defog, but it cannot set up hazards like Skarmory can. Skarmory's got the Whirlwind, the defog there. Skarmory also has pretty cool shenanigans with the weak armor. We'll have to see how Skarmory does. Will it bring back the rise of Magnezone? Way down here, Magnezone's not seeing like any play at all. It's in UU, but you don't see Magnezone at all because so many things can just blow it back because of the insane power explosion with terrestrialization, and Magnet Pull just doesn't have the same effect when everything can U-turn out or just kill it. So we'll have to see if Skarmory stays in OU. Maybe. It's still obviously a phenomenal defensive wall with 140 base defense, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Kingdra, there it is. We already discussed him. Going to be great in the Rain Porygon 2. We already discussed it. Going to be really cool with an Eviolite, especially with the lack of knockoff going around. Could be really scary. Tyrogue is there. Smeargle is coming back. That's going to be really cool. We're going to see some interesting tech with Lead, Spore, Sash, Smeargle, Nuzzle, things like this. Knockoff, all the hazards, right? Really cool options for Smeargle. We haven't seen it in a while, so we'll have to see how it does. Tyrogue. Hitmontop is there. A really great Assault Vest user. Loves to Rapid Spin. Gets Intimidate. I love Intimidate. Assault Vest Hitmontop, a really cool Pokemon there, and hits decently hard. It can high jump kick, things like this. So really cool Pokemon. Here we go. Moving into Gen 3. Here comes Sceptile, Blaziken, and Swamp and Big Daddy Pert himself. Pert is great. We're gonna have to see if it keeps Flip Turn. Otherwise, Pert has been like OU the last several gens. I think it might have been down in OU, but it was in UU, but it was still consistently used in OU with Rocks, Ice Punch, Earthquake, Flip Turn, even Scald, Toxic. So we'll have to see if they nerf him, taking away things like Toxic, things like Flip Turn. But always a great Pokemon. Unfortunately, we don't have Mega Swampert, the Broken. So we'd love to see him come back. Game Freak. Obviously, Blaziken is there. Definitely gonna have its good place in OU. Going to be insanely powerful with a terrestrialization option there for Blaziken. Swords Dance, High Jump Kick, Flare Blitz, Thunder Punch, Earthquake, Stone Edge. Does it even get knockoff? It might get knockoff, but it's such a cool Pokemon. I know it gets defog as well. We'll have to see if they goobed him. A really cool Pokemon, especially with the speed boost ability. Very scary in the back sweeper. And especially with the terrestrialization option, is going to hit extra hard, even on a Sun team in the Sun with Flare Blitz, Terra Fire. This thing can Terra into all different kinds of stuff. Pure fighting, grass, right? Flying, dodge the ground attacks. Gets Brave Bird, right? Flying Brave. So really cool options there. And then, of course, Sceptile being super fast. And with Unburden, really cool shenanigans there. Again, with the terrestrialization options, Leaf Storm, all different. And it can hit on the physical side, too, with even Leaf Blade, Razor Claw, things like this, Earthquake. So it's just so fast that I think it may have some viability, but a little bit frail and still going to be weak to Ice Shard if you don't Terra. It's probably going to get OHKO'd by Baxcalibur, but still a great Pokemon. I know how much everybody loves Sceptile. I get it. It's okay. Mightyena is there. Cool Pokemon. Intimidate pure dark type. There aren't many pure dark types. Oh, just kidding. Everything's pure dark type because you can just Terra now. You can just change your type. Here we go. Ludicolo. Awesome Pokemon, the only grass and water type Pokemon ever in the game. Is that right? Is that still right? Is that still right? Anyway, it gets Swift Swim and it gets really cool, especially offensive moves like Focus Blast, Ice Beam, Giga Drain, Energy Ball, Hydro Pump, Surf. Don't even need Skull. You want to just put this thing in the rain with a Life Orb or with Choice Specs, and it does big ol' bonkers damage. Love Ludicolo. We're going to have to see if it makes the cut, if you see it much in OU or UU on a rain team specifically. There he is, the mascot himself, Nuzleaf, and then Shiftry, another really cool Sun Abuser with Growth, Sucker Punch, a plethora of grass type attacks there. Really cool substitute user in my opinion. Shiftry is actually scary and it's a good mixed attacker. It can hit you with like heat waves on the special side, things like that. So watch out for Shiftry a little bit. Kind of in the same vein as Scovillain, but yeah, might be outclassed by Meowscarada with a grass dark type. Nosepass is there, cool Pokemon. Don't use it much, but I know it gets some cool shenanigans. Its little brother is... Wait, this is the little brother. Okay, Nosepass is there. He's got weird shenanigans. Plusland Minun, they're cool. Illumise, a cool Pokemon with Volbeat getting Tail Glow. Still don't see him much, but could be threats in the lower tiers. Here's Trapinch and Flygon. Now, Flygon. Will they goob him? Dragon Dance, U-Turn, Roost, Defog, right? A lot of cool offensive presence, being a Scarfer, a Choice Bander, a Dragon Dancer, but also can be a kind of bulky utility Pokemon with that Roost, U-Turn, Defog, things like this. Pure Ground Terra, Dragon Terra Outrages. Could be scary. Flygon's always been good. I think it's always been around UU. Will we see it rise to OU? Will it keep its old moves? Gotta love Flygon. A classic. Here he is, ladies and gents. Crawdon. Horrifying if true, because of the adaptability, terrestrialization, water in the rain, Swords Dance, Dragon Dance options, Crab Hammer, annihilating things, knockoff. This thing just, that's all it needs. It doesn't matter if you're a Clefable, it doesn't matter if you're an Azu or if you're a Toxapex, you're gonna get blown back. The thing gets that Swords Dance Aqua Jet hit so hard, and again, with the terrestrialization into pure water or even a pure dark or something crazy, maybe like a ghost type, to dodge Mach Punches, right? Or E-Speeds. A lot of cool options there for Crawdon. We're definitely going to see this thing used in OU. It's going to hit extra hard. Breloom has been really good in OU lately, so we may see even that continue to be used in OU because I know Crawdon's going to be there. Melodic, so good. Definitely, I think we're going to see it on a lot of teams in OU. One of those Pokemon that you may not even need to terrestrialize, being a pure water type, and since they gave it Flip Turn, a phenomenal Pokemon with Recover and with that Marvel scalability, with the Flame Orb doubling that or boosting by 1.5 that physical defense and having so much natural bulk on the special side. This thing's really cool, especially with things like Mirror Coat. Again, Flip Turn. It used to have Scald, it used to have Toxic, Recover as well. Super duper bulky. We'll have to see if they nerf it or not. If they don't nerf it, it's going to be a great check to things like Walking Wake, Quaquaval, Roaring Moon, Torkoal. I mean, so many things down here. Even, I would say Iron Valiant, but no, nothing checks that. You know, obviously Iron Treads, Ceruledge, these guys up here. I think it's going to be able to eat hits from Goldango, Garganacl, Garchomp, Dragonite, right? It's Great Tusk, Greninja. I mean, it's going to check so many things. We'll have to see if it loses Scald and Toxic and Flip Turn. We'll have to see how it does. But otherwise, Melodic is very scary, underrated Pokemon. I can't believe it ever even dropped it to UU. Duskull, Dusclops, Dusk Noir, really cool Pokemon. I like to use like even Will-O-Wisp or like Ice Punch, things like this. Destiny Bond, it gets a lot of really cool tech. I think it can actually set up and do some weird stuff. Dusclops, Dusk Noir, Don't use it too much, but I know it's actually pretty scary. Incredibly bulky, especially Dusclops with Eviolite. And again, that lack of knockoff may be good for the Duskull line. Chimecho is their cool Pokemon, doesn't do anything. Metagross is already confirmed to come back by the Pokemon Company on Pokemon Day. Obviously, they revealed that in the trailer. Metagross, great Pokemon, and I think going to be a great Terrestrial user. Even turning into a pure Steel type and losing that Dark and Ghost weakness, hitting extra hard with Bullet Punches and Meteor Mashes and things like this. Obviously, Ice Punch, Earthquake, Superpower, Zen Headbutt, things like this are really, and Thunder Punch, I believe, hits a lot of the metagame really, really hard. A great AV user as well. Gets Stealth Rock. We'll have to see if it keeps it. It better, right? But Metagross is coming back. It's going to be really cool to see how it works. It's going to be the only Steel and Psychic type in the game, I believe. I don't know if Jirachi's coming back, but that'll be a cool niche for Metagross. It should check a lot of things, but it might want to terrestrialize into things like Fire type, or even a Dark type, or a Normal type, right? Because so many Ghost type users like Dragapult, Goldango, it's not going to appreciate Shadow Balls, but AV set may work. It may work. Torterra is there, and Infernape and Empoleon. Empoleon is huge. Let me start with this one. We don't have a single Water and Steel type in the game. I don't know if there is even any other Water and Steel types at all besides Empoleon. Empoleon has so much tech. This thing can be specially defensive, physically defensive, especially offensive, Stealth Rock, Defog, Weakness Policy, Agility, Choice Specs with things like Ice Beam. I think it gets Grass Knot, Flash Cannon, Hydro Pump. A phenomenal Pokemon, and it's got such good defensive typing. I believe it has like 11 resistances. I think it's the second best defensive typing, only after Magnezone, just like barely by like 1/4 of something. Empoleon, a phenomenal defensive typing, and that would be a great check to so many things. If you just look through the entire list, it resists a lot, and it's got enough speed to be kind of troll. What is it, like 67? How fast is Empoleon? 60. But it's just got everything it needs. It gets Defiant. Did they ever drop Defiant? Because that would be really cool. Anyway, Empoleon, can't wait to see it back. Stealth Rock, right? Does it get Flip Turn? Did they give it Flip Turn? Nah, they didn't. Did it ever get Knockoff either? It gets Knockoff. There's the Grass Knot. So the Pokemon is so good. A lot of really great utility, an underrated Pokemon, and I think it's a really cool, good typing. I think we will see some offensive Empoleon, maybe just like Max here with like rocks and like Flash Cannon to hit things. It could be Ghost type, Terra Blast to dodge the Rapid Spin, sets up Rock and Ghosts up. So cool Pokemon. Can't wait to try it out and use it myself once we can get it in the game. Infernape is there, a phenomenal Pokemon with so much utility and so many offensive options. Obviously hits on both sides with the 108 speed and the physical and the special offensive presence there. Nasty Plot, Swords Dance, Bulk Up. It gets every move under the sun. It even gets Stealth Rock, U-Turn, Slack Off. The thing has always had phenomenal options, right? So we'll have to see. I think it'll definitely see some usage. This overall drop is really going to shake up the entire game, the entire meta, right? Even more so, I think, than what happened in Gen 8, right? We had all the Galarian Pokemon and then that big DLC drop and everything changed, right? That's what's going to happen here big time, but it's going to be even crazier because now we have things like Dondozo, the greatest unaware user of all time. I think Dondozo is going to end up getting banned. I've been saying it for a long time. Dondozo is ruining the game. You can't set up physically anymore. If you see Dondozo on the other team, it just wrecks your entire plan. It's got to go. They cannot ban all these other offensive mon, Flutter Mane, Iron Bundle, Houndstone, Chien-Pao, Chi-Yu, the Cyclizar, things like this, but not ban Dondozo, which was put in place to check all those things. Now it's just a powerhouse. If you have Dondozo on your team, it's like next to impossible to break through. You have to terrestrialize into a grass or electric type just to hit it. So Dondozo buck wild. You buck wild, Dondozo. Obviously, there's Torterra. get goobed by an Ice Shard, Torterra. Set up rocks and get out of there. Okay, sorry, Torterra, much love, but you'll probably end up RU as usual. Cranidos, Rampardos, they are there. The Glass Cannon himself, Choice Scarf, Head Smash is there. Does way more damage than it has any right doing. Bastiodon is there. It likes to use that Metal Burst. That's a cool Pokemon. It's actually pretty bulky. Maybe really good, because it is Rock and Steel type, it may be a good Terrastalizer and dodge those quad weak to ground and quad weak to fighting. Sets up rocks and may be able to do some work here. Let's see, Ambipom is there, already discussed him. Chingling, cool. Munchlad, there's Rhyperior, we discussed all these guys. Electivire, Magmortar, could be cool. Rhyperior, of course, Snorlax is going to be very cool. There's Yanmega, Gliscor, we already discussed him. Mamoswine, very powerful, can't wait to use him. PZ, can't wait to use him as well. I'm going to blow things back with PZ, Shadow Ball, good luck switching in Goldengo. Garganacl can probably switch in forever because it's got that ridiculous Purifying Salt and takes half damage from Ghost-type moves. Yeah, Garganacl is not going anywhere. If anywhere, it's going to Ubers. Mamoswine, PZ, Probopass, Nusquara, Blitzel, Zebstrika. Maybe they will change Zebstrika's ability to Electric Terrain Setter, whatever it's called. That would be great, so that we don't only have Pincurchin as the only Electric Terrain Setter. It would kind of be in line with how we have Torkoal, the slow bulky, that's the Pincurchin, and then we're going to have Ninetales coming in. Maybe Zebstrika, I'm just saying, maybe they'll change its ability to the Electric Terrain Setting ability. We'll have to see. Probably not. Excadrill. Guaranteed OU Pokemon, guaranteed going to help. Tyranitar, get out of UU, get back up here in OU. Poor Sand has fallen off big time, whereas Hippowdon. We're gonna love seeing Excadrill coming back with those rapid spins, those swords dances, those stealth rocks. Maybe they'll even do some justice and give him spikes now. Gonna be a really cool Terrastalize user. Maybe into a fire type, a flying type, even obviously a pure ground or a pure steel type will hit extra hard. Even especially a ghost type. You know, it's always such a great lead sash Pokemon, rapid spinning and getting that speed boost and getting rid of hazards and setting up its own. That's always been kind of a cool tech for Excadrill, especially ever since they buffed rapid spin. But I think ghost type Excadrill lead is going to be really scary. Obviously things like Great Tusk are going to goob it real hard, but Great Tusk is going to hit with a knockoff if it does go to a ghost type, in which case it has to give Great Tusk. If you want to run knockoff, you typically have to give up either spin or rocks because you really want to keep the EQ or the ground and the fighting. Anyway, Conkeldurr is coming back. We need that. We don't have like any Mach Punch users other than Breloom. So Conk, I can't wait to come back. We have very few, if any, like pure fighting types in the game. We have Paldean, Tauros, but I can't wait for Conk to come back. Will it still have Defog? Will they take it away? Will it still make great use of Iron Punch or Iron Fist and Sheer Force with Life Orb? It'll still have Mach Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, Drain Punch. Will it still have Knockoff? Facade, phenomenal Pokemon, great for bulking up. I can't believe they gave it Defog. I don't know if he'll still have it, but we need it. And I see him actually being used significantly in OU. And I also see him being a really cool Terrastalize user. So maybe turning into a fairy type with bulk up and Drain Punch, things like this. So we'll have to see. I think he's got some really cool options. He's always been great. I know he dropped to UU last gen, but I love Conk, and I love its power, and I love its bulk, and I love its utility. Knockoff, will it keep it? We'll have to see. Levani there. Levani's there. Whimsicott, huge for VGC, and I think huge for our meta here. Encore Prankster. Prankster Encore, Prankster Seed, Prankster Substitute. It also gets a U-turn, and then really cool moves like, obviously, like Giga Drain, Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast. Gonna be a really cool Terrastalize user. I think it gets Weather Ball, so it could maybe fit on Sun teams and hit Terra Fire. I'm not sure if it gets Weather Ball. I might be wrong. Let's look. Does it get Weather Ball? Nope. What else does it get though? Cotton Guard, cool. Gets Defog, right? Prankster Defog, that's huge. Hurricane, Knockoff, Seeds, Memento, right? So a lot of Psychic is there. Relic, Shadow Ball, Stun Spore, Switcheroo, Tailwind, Taunt, Toxic, so it's probably going to lose a lot of that. There's no way it's obviously going to keep. It already lost Toxic, but We'll have to see what they do for Whimsicott being so good at base 116 speed, right? And a really cool grass and fairy type, which we don't have any of in the game. So happy to have Whimsicott coming back. I think it's going to make waves and have a major impact, if not even just in OU, especially in VGC. With the Encore is so good. So a lot of things may even like Prankstering into a dark type now just to prevent, or terrestrializing into a dark type just to prevent Prankster. Scrafty is there. I love Scrafty. Really going to help Scrafty with the ability to terrestrialize as well, being dark and fighting. It's going to love not having that quad weakness to Fairy, while it likes to bulk up with that Shed Skin ability, while it likes to hit you as hard as possible. It gets a Dragon Dance as well. Love Scrafty, an underrated Pokemon. And now, yeah, you can run that max like special defense and start bulking up or swords dancing up and terrestrialize into a water type, right? Really scary. Are we seeing the next Annihilate? No, we're not seeing the next Annihilate. There's Minccino and Senchino. I think that does a pretty similar thing as the other normal monkey. So what am I talking about here? Senchino, yes, Skill Link Technician. Doesn't the other thing get that as well? Ambipom, Skill Link Technician. So very similar to Pokemon, kind of in the same vein, and I think they're the same thing, right? Aren't they the same thing? There he is, Ryuni. Ryuni coming back. Ryuni is a pure Psychic type, which we don't see like any of. We have like no pure Psychics. Psychic is kind of a rare typing. Look at this. Nothing. We got Gallade, Rabska, Screamtail's there, Slowbro, Slowking. You just don't see them being used much. There's nothing up here that's Psychic at all, except Armarouge, Armarouge, Armarouge. And then there's Iron Leaves. That's not going to stay in it. It may stay in it. I don't see it staying up here in OU. But yeah, I think Ryuni may not stay in OU, but I do think it's definitely going to have its really cool niche with Regenerator, with Magic Guard, and with especially Calm Mind Terra options. Huge. Very, very scary in the back. I think it's going to be one of the best terrestrialized users. Terrestrializing into like a dark or a fairy type or a ghost type maybe. Nah, maybe not a ghost type. Still gonna be weak to ghost and dark. But really cool Pokemon. Maybe a fighting type there. So I can't wait to use Ryuni with Terra and Calm Mind sets. And even Iron Defense sets. Gets Recover. Really cool Pokemon there. Ducklet and Swanna are there. Galvantula's coming back. Galvantula coming back. Obviously the bug and electric, and it sets up sticky webs. It gets that compound ice, so it's going to hit extra hard with thunders, and maybe even Terra into a pure electric type, and hit those thunders extra hard. Always been a cool lead. Bug Buzz likes to Volt Switch out. Gets Giga Drain as well. Maybe you'll terrestrialize into a grass type to hit extra hard there, but love setting up sticky webs is its main gimmick. Chandelure coming back with its whopping 145 special attack stat. One of the best ghost and fire type users, probably gonna like to terrestrialize as well. Who knows into what? Maybe a dark type, flying type, water type. It also gets Energy Ball as well. A great Choice Specs user and Choice Scarf user with the base 80 speed and its access to Trick. Or is it Switcheroo? It's one or the other, but they do the same thing. But Chandelure hits extra hard. You're going to have to watch out for it, dropping Specs, Overheats, and Fire Blasts and Shadow Balls. Although it does get goobed by things like a lot of things, like Dark type and Ground type, and Clodsire can probably eat it pretty well. And gets outsped a lot. And a lot of things get Sucker Punch, and it can't touch Roaring Moon. So Ting-Lu, there's so much rain and sun going on. But it does get Flash Fire. So we'll have to see if Chandelure, how much it usually sticks around UU, a great Pokemon, but obviously we do have the goatee of Ghost Fire types in Skeledirge right now. Even though Skeledirge likes to switch into like a Fairy or a Water, it likes to terrestrialize, right? But Alolan Marowak, if we get that back, what another great Fire and Ghost type as well. But on the physical side with Swords Dance and the Electric Absorb ability is really great for that Pokemon. But Chandelure is great. I can't see it dropping any lower than UU because of how hard it hits especially. Mienshao is there. Base 105 speed is great. U-turn gets the Reckless ability, so it hits extra hard with high jump kicks, things like this. We'll have to see if it keeps knockoff and Poison Jab, things like this. Does it get Swords Dance? I'm curious. Mienshao. Gonna be a cruel Terrestrial user. Does it get Swords Dance? It does. Does it get Bulk Up? It does. And I know it gets Knock. Poison Jab, Knockoff, U-Turn. Obviously, it gets the Regenerator ability as well as Reckless. So this Pokemon's always going to be good unless they nerf it and they take away its move pool. Otherwise, it's pretty scary with that base 105 speed. Gotta love Mienshao. It's always been great. Usually drops to like UU or RU, but we'll have to see how viable it is with the terrestrialization gimmick now. Mandibuzz, wait, here we go. Golurk is there, a really cool ghost and ground type. I love its no guard ability, and it is one of the best checks in the game to Toxtricity. And it's a great rock setter, Ice Punch, things like this, Phantom Force, Earthquake. We'll have to see. I think they gave it Poltergeist as well, so it hits pretty hard. We'll have to see how Golurk does. It's one of those Pokemon that can be like UU as well, or RU, but then also when you put it on an OU team, it fits very nicely and does like a surprising amount of work. Dynamic Punch is there, right? Terrestrialized to a fighting type, stab Dynamic Punch. Really cool for Golurk. Mandibuzz, of course, is going to be OU. One of the best checks in the game to things like Dragapult. So many other things. Hydreigon. Iron Leaves can't even touch it. It's going to be a great check to Roaring Moon, things like this, Ting Lu. It's so bulky. There's Hisuian Zoroark, right? You can make it specially bulky, physically bulky, but are they going to nerf it? Is it going to keep Knockoff, U-Turn, Roost, Defog, Foul Play? Is it going to still have that same tech as it's had before? Great Pokemon. It was even better when it had Toxic. We'll have to see how hard they nerf Mandibuzz, but it is really niche Pokemon that we need with that flying and dark typing. I love Mandibuzz. So happy that we're getting it back. Not going to be able to touch the Broken Garganacl or Iron Valiant. So we'll have to see if it actually stays OU, but I think it might. I think we'll see it on a lot of teams. It might be a great check to Goldengo. We might start seeing a lot more nasty plot Thunderbolt Goldengo for Mandibuzz, even though it can hit it pretty hard with actually Make It Rain's not going to do anything. If you're Spadef, bulky Mandibuzz, it's going to do like 30. Meowstic is there with Prankster Shenanigans. Kind of cool for setting up things like the screens and being really trolly. I don't know. Okay, we'll move on from Meowstic. We have Malamar there. Very cool Psychic and Dark type with the contrary ability. So it gets boosts when it uses things like Superpower. Really cool Pokemon. We'll have to see if it makes use of Terrestrialization gimmick as well to get rid of that 4x weakness to Bug. But a really cool Choice Scarf user as well. It can really run away in the late game with the contrary ability. Trevenant is there. We have several Ghost and Grass types now, but Trevenant is really troll with that, with its ability where it keeps like getting its like citrus or berry back and likes to will-o-wisp you and seed you and subseed, and it actually hits surprisingly hard on the physical side. Trevenant's a cool Pokemon. I don't think it'll remain OU because a lot of things hit hard enough to just OHKO it, but it's got really solid gimmick down in the lower tiers. All right, Decidueye, Incineroar, and Primarina. What do we think, you guys? Decidueye, I know, has a lot of fans out there. Another Ghost and Grass Pokemon. And obviously we're getting Hisui and Decidueye, the fighting type there. We'll have to see which one is used more. I know Decidueye can hit you on both sides. It likes to use Shadow Ball, Giga Drain, things like this. But on the physical side, it does get like Poltergeist, Brave Bird. It gets Roost, U-Turn. I believe it can set up Swords Dances, Shadow Sneak. Gets Defog as well. So a lot of really cool tech for Decidueye. But again, it may be outclassed. But I mean, Meowscarada is there, and a lot of things are going to just annihilate. Cinderace, there's so many things. Of course, Iron Valiant, probably going to, and then King Gambit's there. So much rain, it's going to blow it back. Pelipper, Volcarona, going to turn into, I mean, what can you do versus Volcarona? You can Shadow Sneak it. But yeah, we'll have to see how Decidueye works. Incineroar is great. I don't think it'll stay OU. Fire and Dark. I don't know if we even have any Fire and Dark types in the game right now at all. Its Intimidate ability is always going to be great, especially now that it got access to, ever since it got Heavy Duty Boots and kept Intimidate, right? U-turning out, Parting Shotting out, Flare Blitzing, Darkest Lariat, things like this. A great Pokemon, even better in VGC. So we'll have to see the waves that it makes in VGC with that Intimidate and things like that. So, and then Fire and Dark is really great, right? Because you take neutral from Fairy. It may be a really good Terrestrialize user. I think it can set up too. I think it gets Bulk Up. Don't quote me on that. I never really use it? Let's see. I think it does. Yeah, it does. And get some other cool tech. Close combat, cross chop. There's Darkest Lariat, Earthquake Endeavor. Fake out is there. Yeah, a lot of great stuff. Gets knockoff. Will it keep that? It can nasty plot. Maybe it'll terrestrialize it to a dragon type and hit outrage. I don't know. There's Parting Shot. Scorching Sands is there. Cool. So superpowers down there too. Cool for you in Incineroar. Can't wait to see it. Primarina. Primarina is great. Primarina will be really good for checking things like Walking Wake, right? A lot of things. I think Primarina will see it in OU. For a while. It may end up falling off because it's tough to beat Azu, but Primarina hits really hard. It's like the special Azu. It's got great bulk. I think they gave it flip turn. Yeah, they did. And then Sparkling Aria, great water move. Draining Kiss is great. It gets access to Calm Mind as well. So that makes it extra scary. You don't know exactly what it's going to do. And then obviously just Water Fairy is such good typing. Primarina is a great Pokemon. It's been underrated, but late Gen 8 it saw a lot of rise in usage. It's a great specs user as well. It gets a lot of really cool coverage. Primarina is great. Trumbeak, Pikapeck, Toucannon, maybe a great user of Loaded Dice. No? Maybe a great user of Loaded Dice. Then it gets Skill Link though, doesn't it? Either way, Toucannon is there, gets some cool moves. Vikavolt is there. That also, it's got the bug electric with the levitate ability. It likes to set up the sticky webs as well and volt switch out. And it hits really hard. I believe it's got like 140 special attack and energy ball, bug buzz, thunderbolt, things like this. Maybe a really cool terrestrialize user, especially with the levitate ability. So that's going to be cool. Maybe it'll like to shed that bug type, just turn pure electric with levitate and blow holes in teams. Kind of, slow, but Vikavolt may see some usage in OU, especially because it's a great web setter. Rabombi is there, such a fast Pokemon. What, like base like 126 or something like that? Rabombi 124. It also gets Sticky Web and it also gets Quiver Dance. So this thing is really cool. Moonblast, right? A Bug Buzz. I believe it gets Energy Ball. Could be a really cool user of Terras like Terra Blast Fire, things like this to hit the steel types. Gets Roost here, Switcheroo, Stun Spore. So it's going to be interesting to see. Rabombi's always been underrated, in my opinion anyway, but I definitely think it's going to no lower than UU. It definitely will see some usage in OU just because it's fairy type and so fast, and it does have those moves that I just mentioned, makes it really good. Araquanid, so good of a Pokemon. I hate when I see it. It's like you can't damage it. It takes no damage on the physical side. You got to hit it with like a Choice Banded Stone Edge or a Choice Specs Overheat, and that didn't even do anything to it. You can't burn it. It just gobbles hits. You got to hit it with a Choice Banded Ultra Thunder. So also another great Sticky Web user. Hits really hard, harder than you'd expect with Liquidation. Great lead Pokemon. It is weak to rocks, but Araquanid is a great Pokemon. Excited to have it coming back. Comfey, Minior. Don't see much usage, but a really great Shell Smash user. Shell Smash, Acrobatics, Stone Edge, Earth Power. I think it can be a mixed attacker, but I think it may get Earthquake. Minior is great and maybe a really cool Terra user as well, maybe to a pure flying type. That's actually going to be really scary. Comfey's actually really troll if you know how to use it in the back with its triage ability and Calm Mind. Really good. Como-O. So this is what I don't understand. I'm happy to have Como-O back. I think they left him out of them because we got almost all the other pseudo legends. We didn't get Metagross. We didn't get Como-O, I think, because it's going to be, it may be banned or they may just ban the Clangorous Soul Blaze or the Clanging Scales or whichever move it is. There's like 17 Clangor Scales blazes, right? Whatever it is that boosts, like the Omni boost, but it takes a third of your health, or it's going to be such a good Terra user. It's going to love to turn into a Steel type, a Fairy type. It's got a really good ability in Bulletproof. And I believe it's also Soundproof. Two great abilities. And I think they left it out because it's going to come in making big old waves when it comes. Definitely going to see it used a lot in OU. Going to be one of the best Terra users. Watch out for it. Maybe turning into a poison type, right? It gets Poison Jab. It gets things like it gets Drain Punch, Thunder Punch, Earthquake, Scale Shot, right? It loves to sub belly drum, things like this, Salac Berry, right? It's gonna do big damage. I can't wait to see how it's used. It's gonna be very scary, horrifying to see. It also gets Stealth Rock, so I have to see if they nerf it, take away any of its tech. But Como-O is coming back, Cramorant's coming back. Again, water and flying is really good typing. Could be a good Pokemon with choice specs. Don't know too much about it. Never really used Cramorant, but Milcery is there. Into Alcremie. Alcremie is actually pretty good Pokemon. It's really just that like bulky, calm mind fairy user. We'll have to see how it does. I don't know if it's going to be better than Clefable unless they super goob Clefable. Morpeko is there. The only dark and electric type used to be. We'll have to see. I think it still is, actually. Really cool gimmick with the switching between the dark and the electric type with its whatever move that is, the wheel. It's a cool Pokemon. Kind of frail, but we'll have to see how it does. Duraludon is now coming back as well. The Steel Dragon that is not Dialga. I think they're bringing it back now because I think it's going to be also a great Terra user. Maybe turning into a Ghost type or a Flying type Pokemon. It hits surprisingly hard on the special side and gets insane coverage. Like every special move, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Energy Ball, Thunderbolt. I don't think it gets Ice Beam, but it's really hard hitting Dracos, really hard hitting Flash Cannons. And it's going to be really cool to terrestrialize this thing. So that it kind of dodges those super effective ground attacks and fighting attacks, things like that. So it's gonna be a really fun Pokemon to use. I don't think it'll end up being OU because everything is so insanely broken these days, and Iron Valiant exists. Okay, now the Hisuian Pokemon are here. Weirdeer, it is that normal and psychic type. Let's check out its stats. I don't know much about these boys yet. Normal psychic. Intimidate is cool. A little slow at 65. Relatively bulky, 103, 72, 75, and they can hit on both sides. I think it gets some cool moves. I don't know much about these guys yet. I don't know much. Doesn't it get a cool, like, there it is, Psy Shield Bash. 100% chance to raise your own D, so that's cool. Does it get Body Press? That would be some cool tech if it could do that into Body Press. That would help a lot, but Sucker Punch is there. Thunder Wave, Toxic, we'll have to see. I don't believe it. I don't believe all of it. But even then, normal, I mean, it does dodge the ghost type attacks. We'll have to see how good it is. Intimidate is a really cool ability, but a lot of things actually kind of aren't as threatened by Intimidate anymore because of like Oblivious. I think there's another ability that also is no longer threatened by, maybe Justified or something, is no longer threatened by Intimidate. Weirdeer is there. Cleavor, very scary Pokemon, because I believe he gets that 105 speed, or 85 speed. Wow, I'm way off. That was Scizor, or Scyther. Wait, that's 110. No, Scyther is 105, right? It hits extra hard with that Stone Axe, right? And sets up rocks. Okay, they changed it. They're changing out some things. I don't know all these Pokemon yet. But it gets rocks, and it gets sharpness and sheer force. It may be a really good Terrestrialize user. That Stone Axe move looks kind of broken that it sets up rocks and does that much damage. But it could miss. All rock moves are not 100% accurate, except Power Gem. And I think maybe some other like signature moves, but all rocks are like not fully accurate. Cool Pokemon, excited to see. It gets Swords Dance as well. So that could be very, very scary. Does it get knockoff, things like that? Yeah, but we'll have to see how hard they nerf it when it actually comes out. These are all moves that like Scizor and Scyther got. So we'll have to see what it actually gets. Ursaluna, that is Big Daddy. Ursaluna, Big Daddy. Because Ursaluna is that ground and normal type and has bonkers attack stat at 140 and bonkers bulk at 130 HP and 105 defense. And 80 Spadef is great too. Gonna have the option to run an AV set here. Gonna get Stealth. Not gonna get Stealth Rock. Okay, not gonna get Stealth Rock, but it is gonna get Headlong Rush, and that's gonna blow holes in teams, and it's gonna be a really cool Terra user, maybe a Flying Terra, right? Maybe something weird like a Fairy Terra, Dragon Terra. Close combat's there. It's also gonna hit really hard with Double Edges and Facades, with Guts Flame Orb, right? Guts Flame Orb Facades is hitting so hard with this guy with that insane. Can't wait to see this guy. Definitely think he's going to be an OU. I definitely think we're going to be very, very scared of this guy in OU. Crunch is there to hit the Psychic types and the Ghost types as well. Fire Punch is there. Hammer Arm Gunk Shot is there to hit the bulky fairies. Heavy Slam. They just broke this guy. Look at all this guy's moves. Power Up, he's definitely not getting Power Up Punch. I think a lot of this is from Ursaring. Ursaring has an incredible moveset. Definitely don't think he's going to have this incredible of a moveset, but you're not going to need it when you have this incredible stab, ground, and normal, which is gonna just blow everything back except Corviknight. And even then, we're gonna be able to tear into a fire type or a fighting type and just break everything in half with Guts Flame Orb. So really cool, powerful Pokemon. Ursaluna, insanely broken. I'm insane. Did I say that? I said insanely broken. Basculegion. Everybody knows these Hisuian Pokemon are buck wild. Everybody knows Basculegion is coming in insanely broken. Swift Swim in the rain and adaptability as well, and Mold Breaker. Look at these 3 incredible abilities. It's getting things like, it's not getting Poltergeist. Okay, it's gonna need Poltergeist. No? Anyway, adaptability is looking really powerful. Aqua Jet there. Last Respects, that's what it is. Last Respects is what's so scary. Liquidation, adaptability. If this thing gets any kind of recovery move, that's horrifying. Psychic Fangs is great as well to shatter screens. Terra Blast is there. Wave Crash hitting, yeah, that's all you need right there, right? Does this thing get Flip Turn? If this thing gets Flip Turn, just ban it right now. Ice Fang, Last Respects, Liquidation, Wave Crash, Terra Blast if you want to go crazy with it, like a fire move or something insane. But really excited to use this guy. Obviously, the female version does basically the same thing on the special side, but I think the male version with Last Respects with that 112 attack and really good bulk. Even I think Swift Swim may end up being the move here. Swift Swim, Last Respects. We'll have to see how it does. Very, very scary Pokemon coming in hot. Sneasler is there, the poison and fighting type, very fast. Sneasler, Hisui, base 120, right? And I think also 130 attack. Gets Swords Dance. And a really great offensive coverage here with Poison Jab, High Jump Kick. I believe it gets Knockoff. Does it get the knock? No knock? No knock. That's good. If it got knockoff, that'd be ridiculous. What all does it get? It gets bulk up as well as Calm Mind. Not going to need that. But Close Combat is there. Fake Out is there for you VGC users. Dire Claw. There it is. That new poison move. 50% chance to poison sleep repair the target. Base 80 power. Very scary. There's Gunk Shot also to hit extra hard. Night Slash is there. Quick Attack Shadow Claw. There's Switcheroo if you want to be a Bandit or a Choice Set. I think that would be really good. I think Bandit would be great here. Taunt is there as well. Toxic Spikes is there as well. And U-Turn is there as well. So if it keeps all of that, it's going to be very, very scary. We'll have to see, but it gets some really scary, cool options. It can set up on you. It can Bandit on you. It can set up spikes. It can U-Turn out. And it's really fast and hits really hard. It better be frail. It better stay really frail. May even be a really good Terra user, you guys. All these Hisui Pokemon are looking really, really threatening. Can't wait to try out Sneasler. There's so much good stuff coming. Overquill and especially Eviolite Quillfish, right? Very scary with Intimidate. It's going to be really bulky. Sets up spikes, does a lot of cool stuff. Aqua Jet, Destiny Bond, hazes you. Really scary with that kind of bulk. It's going to be tough to break through when you have max HP and you have the Eviolite on it. But Overquill is kind of like his dad, right? Overquill dad, Dark Poison, right? So that's making it only weak to ground. Gets the Swift Swim and the Intimidate ability as well. It's going to be very scary and it hits really hard at 115. I know it also has, there it is, Barbarage, a signature move. 50% chance to poison, 2 times damage if they're already poisoned. Crunch, Destiny Bond, Gunk Shot, Haze. Lots of cool tech for these guys. Gonna set up spikes as well. That's the other big thing. Taunt you, Swords Dance, Toxic Spikes. We'll have to see if it keeps all of that. But that's a really good Pokemon in addition to Intimidate and that really, really good typing, having only 1 weakness. Maybe a cool Terra user to a flying type to dodge the ground. Maybe just a lead balloon user, right? Really cool Pokemon, really scary options. And finally, Enamorous, you guys. Enamorous is coming in. It's got 2 different forms. One is bulkier, one is faster. The faster one has the contrary ability, and it gets superpower. And I believe it also gets, what's the other thing that it gets? Something else that is super broken. There's Moonblast, Mystical Fire. I know there's one, there it is, Springtide Storm. 30% chance of low, that's not super broken because you're missing 80% accurate. There's another move that it makes use of with the contrary ability. It doesn't get Leaf Storm, does it? What is it? It doesn't get the, what's the other fairy move? I don't know. Anyway, guys, it gets Roost. Does not get Roost. Does it get Knock? Doesn't get Knock. Okay, Does get defog, of course. No defog. Okay, that's good. That's good. Might not get instant banned. Does it get Calm Mind? Okay, gotta get Calm Mind. Oh, wait, but you don't want to run Calm Mind Contrary. That would be bad. Healing Wish is there. Psychic, of course. Taunt is there. Gonna be a cool Pokemon. It's really troll with this base 106 speed, right? And it hits extra hard. The thing is, it can hit on both sides. Still don't know if it's gonna be better than Iron Valiant. It may check Iron Valiant with the bulky form. Therian. This is fun. Overcoat. What is this? Look how bulky this is. This is the real threat here, because it can just come in. It can't fall asleep. Breloom. Amoonguss. Amoonguss checks this hard though, because wait, does this thing get Hurricane? No. What flying moves does it get? Nothing. Anyway, this is scary because you want to run like a bulky defensive set and you can Calm Mind up, and then it's like, just look how bulky this is. You're gonna run max HP and then something like this or here, and then you start Calm Minding up. Not fast, but has yet to be seen how good it's going to be. But Fairy Flying type and the ability to Terrasilize is horrifying. Guys, I just did this all. I recorded this all in an hour 20. I haven't stopped talking. I need to drink some water, but Enamorus is going to be very scary, especially we don't have another Fairy Flying type. Togekiss is not in the game. We don't see it returning right now. So remains to be seen how powerful, but definitely going to be very, very powerful, you guys, especially the Contrary. I think both forms will be good. So let me know what you guys think. What are you most excited to see coming back? I can't believe I just knew all that about all these Pokemon, but that's the life of a Poke nerd. So guys, please drop a like on this video. You better subscribe and drop a like, because I can barely even speak anymore. So I love you all so much. Let me know what you think. What Pokemon, again, are you most excited to see? Tell me in the comments. What do you think it's going to do to the meta and OU? Who's going to get banned? What's going to happen? Let me know. I love you all so much. Drop a like. Take care. God bless.